Thank you. Thank you. Good morning. Please be seated. Thank you. On October 7th, 2023, at 7:30 in the morning, I sat in the basement of my home in Tel Aviv with my daughter, Yael, and held her hands tightly. That was the only way to stop her from beating herself on the head again and again. Yael doesn't speak. She's a beautiful young woman, and she's autistic. Outside, constant sirens, explosions, the whistling sound of missiles flying overhead and then crashing. 1,200 people were murdered that day. Hundreds were taken hostage. Women were raped. Babies burned alive. My phone rang nonstop. The Prime Minister's military secretary, Knesset member, friends, desperately searching for their children. Some would never find them. During the chaos, I looked up and my daughter was gone. I went upstairs and saw her sat at the kitchen table. She had her headphones on, and she listened to the same song over and over again in its maximum volume. The song was "It's a Small World After All." The song played at Disney theme parks all over the world. She has disconnected. She had a lot to disconnect from. From that day on, we have had one mission: to come out of the dark moments stronger. I am a believer in the ability of the Jewish people to rise from the ashes. 80 years before my daughter, in the terrible winter of 1945, my father hid in a different basement, a basement in the Budapest ghetto. A Jewish boy, only 13 years old, a boy that the whole world wanted to kill. 3 years later, only 3 years, the State of Israel was founded. And in the summer of 1948, my father arrived on an old boat to the shores of Israel and enlisted to the Jewish army of the Jewish state. He didn't wait for his future, he created it. He didn't accept his fate. He changed it. We can fight Hamas and defeat them. We can stand against Iran and defeat it. We can stand together against the anti-Semitism that is raising its ugly head once more here in the United States and across the world. And to our enemies, we can say, we are stronger than you. We are better than you. The Jewish people are done being afraid of you. Whoever attacks our brothers and sisters in New York or in Kibbutz Nir Oz, in Pittsburgh or Sderot, in Paris or Jerusalem, will find us all standing facing them, united, determined, unbreakable. When faced with any nightmare, any disaster, we always have one right which cannot be taken away from us. We are allowed to fight for what we believe in. We are allowed to defend ourselves. And we will defend ourselves, and we will win. I know that the last 2 years haven't felt that way, but in an historical perspective, the state of the Jewish people has improved. My grandfather was murdered in a concentration camp. My father arrived at a tiny country no one thought would survive. My children grew up in the powerful, smart startup nation and served in the greatest military in the Middle East. We did all that in less than 80 years, less than one lifetime. Tragedies do not define us. The way we respond to them defines us. We have been in dark places before, and we have always found a way to prevail. Israel has been through the hardest year of its existence, but our spirit has not been broken. Our belief in ourselves has not been broken. That is the Israeli way. That is the DNA of the Jewish people. That is what it means when we say to each other, Am Yisrael Chai. Am Yisrael Chai. After October 7th, the regime in Syria celebrated. That regime no longer exists. The leader of Hezbollah, Hassan Nasrallah, celebrated in Beirut. Hassan Nasrallah no longer exists. Sinwar and Def, the leaders of Hamas, celebrated in Gaza. Sinwar and Def no longer exists. After October 7th, they celebrated in the streets of Iran and handed out candies. They felt that Israel's defenses has collapsed. The Iranian defenses no longer exist. Israeli planes, Israeli pilots destroyed them. If the Iranian regime believes that it can continue to develop its nuclear program and Israel will stand by, they are making the biggest mistake of their lives. We have the means to stop them. We have the will to stop them. We will stop them. Our message to all those who hate us is simple. Whoever messes with the Jewish people will pay the price. Whoever messes with the state of Israel will pay with his life. We do not want the sympathy of the world for being right by being dead. We choose to be alive. We choose to be strong. We choose for the world to know that our blood is not cheap. The United States is Israel's most important ally, and Israel is the United States' most loyal friend. Ours is an unbreakable alliance based on shared values. It is an unshakable friendship, and we will keep working to strengthen it together. I know some of you don't always find it easy with elements in the current Israeli government, but I want to remind you, governments come and go. You don't love the government of Israel, you love the people of Israel. You love the state of Israel. And we love you back. We love you back, every single one of you, Orthodox or Reform, conservative or liberal, Republican or Democrat. We are all brothers and sisters. Our challenge is not to go back to where we were, but to take Israel forward to a much better place. We won't do it alone. We have partners. Donald Trump is not only a president who loves Israel, he's also a president unafraid of big ideas and big opportunities. Together, we can change history. The first step, the most essential step, is to bring our hostages home. There is no greater mission, there is no higher purpose than to bring them home, every single one, to go to the second stage of the deal without stopping until the last child is reunited with their family, until the last soldier is home. Shalom לכם. טוב לראות אתכם פה. My call to you today is this. Remember them, talk about them. Demand that every leader here in the US and across the world do everything to bring them all home. In Judaism, there's a concept, a mutual covenant, arvut hadadit. It is what separates us from our enemies. We sanctify life. Our enemies sanctify death and destruction. Hamas sacrifices his own people. They use women, children and the elderly as human shields. Hamas are not fanatical, they are cowards. Our soldiers are the exact opposites. They were revealed this past year in all their glory. As King David says in the book of Samuel, they were swifter than eagles, they were stronger than lions. We thank the soldiers and officers of the IDF for their bravery, their dedication, and their sacrifice. Our responsibility is to turn their bravery into lasting diplomatic achievements. The really big idea is not war, but peace. When this war is won and our hostages are home, the idea is to sign a normalization agreement between the United States, the Saudis, and Israel to create a new regional coalition. That coalition will manage Gaza and stand united opposite Iran and its evil plans. It will open new markets for the American and Israeli economies, and it will work towards a separation between Israel and the Palestinians. The Abraham Accords, initiated by President Trump, paved the way. They proved that things can be different. They survived the past year and a half, all the difficult images, the protests by radicals and the useful idiots on campuses, the pressure by the media. The day after President Trump announced his plan for Gaza, I spoke with a leader of one of the Gulf states. I asked him, I said, what did you think? And he said, I was excited. We have still a lot of work to do, but I was excited that the president spoke about peace and prosperity and new opportunities, not only war and destruction. That's what we need, an optimistic vision. Together with our partners in the Abraham Accords, together with the United States, we will provide the alternative to the agents of chaos from Iran, Hamas, and Hezbollah. We will provide a vision of peace, prosperity, and cooperation. My daughter will never hide in a basement again. Never again. Despite all the pain and suffering, I'm full of hope for the future of my country. And I'm optimistic about the entire region. I can tell you from first-hand knowledge that change is not only possible, it is within reach. 3 years ago, I was serving as the foreign minister, and one Wednesday, I was in my office, and the idea of the Negev Summit was born, a meeting of the foreign ministers of the United States, Israel, Egypt, Morocco, the United Arab Emirates, and Bahrain. On Sunday, only 4 days later, helicopters and planes landed in the Negev in Israel, and we all met not far from the grave of Israel's first prime minister, David Ben-Gurion. 4 days. That's all it took. A world record for putting together a summit at that level. That is how big the hunger is for change in the Middle East. And that hunger still exists. The cynics will tell you it's impossible, but cynics have never built anything in this world. If we believe, if we act, big things will happen. We can come out of this crisis stronger and better. For that to happen, we need 2 things: a plan of action and people we can count on. The plan of action exists. We are ready to lead Israel and the region, ready to chart a new path. The people we can count on are the people I'm looking at right now. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your friendship and your leadership. Hashem yevarech otchem. God bless you all. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you.